Welcome to Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing experts Robert O'Haver and Caleb McKelvin, powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies.
All right, we're back for another episode of Search Talk Live. My name is Robert O'Haver, and with me today is the famous Caleb McKelvin.
The famous, the one and only.
It is his Twitter chat thing today.
Oh, man, that was so much fun. Yeah, appreciate Express Writers for let me guest host that. I had a lot of fun doing it. Everybody that was in there. Saw Michael Stricker in there. He was in there participating. Yeah. A lot of cool stuff. Can't wait for next week. Yeah, do a little more of it.
Yeah, I mean, you had a lot of people responding to it. It was great.
It was really cool stuff.
Yeah. So, also, what else? Sprecher. We're breaking records every month.
Man, aren't we?
Oh, my gosh.
It's crazy. If you've never seen this platform, if you've never listened to us on Sprecher, you need to go check it out. It's a really cool podcasting radio platform where you can go in, follow all your favorite podcasts and radio shows. Hopefully, we fall into that category. Yeah. But go in and check it out, man. It's really cool stuff.
But just on Sprecher alone, we're hitting 500 on average plays per show, which I think is amazing. We've got people in Australia. We've got people in England, which a large percentage in really England and Australia, which is surprising.
And it's funny because when we started this thing, we were getting like 5 plays. We're like, do we keep doing this? Like, what's going on? And now, man, it's just...
We hit the year mark and it's like it exploded, man. It's just somebody flipped a switch. But, today we're talking some more paid advertising stuff. And those of you just tuning in, we talk every week. We talk about digital marketing, whether it be search engine optimization, social media, content marketing, anything, you name it. And we try to give you best practices. We're never, ever going to give you any advice that's going to be, maybe wind up in a penalty or something like that or cost you money. We try to give you the best tips and advice that we can. And we do take your questions on Twitter. You can do hashtag Search Talk Live, and Caleb's monitoring that live right now.
Yep.
So as we go along during the show, you can tweet your questions.
Yeah, get them in. Get them in. We always provide, like Robert said, the best tips and advice. We always bring on the top guests in the industry.
No, I'm kidding.
We always bring out the top guests in the industry. We always have fantastic guests. And today is no exception. We have awesome guests today talking awesome topic. Yeah.
So you can go get past episodes of Search Talk Live at searchtalklive.com.
Yeah.
You can hit us up on Twitter at Search Talk Live. Today, you want to announce our guest?
I definitely will. Today is we had a past member of Adventure Media Group joining us, Patrick. And today we actually have the founder of Adventure Media Group, Mr. Isaac Rudansky.
Give it up.
Yeah. There Isaac, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on the program. It's really excited to be here.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you joining us, man. We're really excited about it. Just to kind of kick things off, if you could kind of introduce yourself to the listeners, a little bit of your, kind of backstory and what you got going on today.
Sure, absolutely. I'm the founder of Adventure Media Group. We're a digital agency based out of Long Island, one of the fastest growing digital agencies here in Long Island. And we specialize in pay-per-click management for our clients, dealing with a lot of complex AdWords campaigns, creative ad copy, dynamic remarketing campaigns, landing page optimization, A/B testing, basically anywhere from acquiring that digital traffic to converting that digital traffic to evangelizing that digital traffic. We're your people to go to. We deal with a wide range of clients in a pretty exciting, diverse group of verticals. Clients who are spending anywhere between $2,500 a month on all their advertising mediums to clients spending millions of dollars a year through lots of different advertising networks and digital ad buying systems online. I got my start. It's actually a funny story. I'll give you the short version. I have a background in graphic design and artwork, and I was an artist, and I was selling my oil paintings and my acrylic paintings and different art shows on the East Coast. And after a little while, I said, hey, I really need to get a website to be able to show potential buyers my art online, maybe start a blog. And I literally knew nothing whatsoever about building. Like, I thought if you told me, make a website, at that point, 5-6 years ago, I thought like this is something that like the top engineers in the world could do, right. and there's no way I'd have enough money anyway to have a website. So I kind of filed the idea back in the back of my head. And then one day on the radio, I heard this ad for this thing called Squarespace, which made no sense to me. It said anyone could make a website. And I said, well, it can't be true because maybe they meant like any engineer could make a website. Mm-hmm. But I go to the website that night, and about 20 consecutive hours without getting up, going to the bathroom, or eating anything later, I had a website on my own domain, and it was probably like it's one of the most exciting feelings I ever had because it was like really breaking through like a totally false notion. You know, someone who came from I don't have a background in computer science or anything like that. So the whole idea of wow, you have your own website, that was incredible. It was like incredibly exciting. And then the question was shortly thereafter, which is how do you get people to come to your website? And long story short, that over the next few months really sucked me down a rabbit hole of learning about digital advertising, learning about marketing, learning about SEO, learning about conversion rate optimization, understanding the behavioral patterns of online traffic, understanding different sources of traffic, the psychology of different types of traffic, and then primarily digging deep on a technical level into Google AdWords, which is the most popular way for businesses to advertise online. Google makes 98% of their revenue from AdWords traffic, from AdWords advertisers. So it's incredibly enormous, AdWords. So really digging into that, and then after a while, really enjoying it and like really doing it successfully for myself, getting good traffic to my art website, helping out some friends with their campaigns. I said, hey, this could be a great business. And even then I didn't understand the concept. I never heard of a digital agency. I didn't know digital agencies existed. I knew ad agencies existed, but this idea of like SEM, PPC agencies, like I didn't even know there was such a massive landscape for that already. I just said, okay, hey, this could be a business. We can do this for other people. It took me a long time to learn this. It's very complicated. I have a knack for it. Let's do it for other people. Mm-hmm. And then that was the initial thought that ultimately turned into the company. And now we're a team of 8-9 people. Most of us in-house full-time. We've worked in the last 2.5 years. We've worked with over 300 clients around the world. We've been incredibly fortunate in terms of appealing and attracting really good clients. That's something that a lot of young agencies / freelancers really struggle with. Yeah. It didn't come without a tremendous amount of hard work, and fortitude, and effort, and persistence. But we've still been very fortunate. We don't have an outbound sales team. We've never made an outbound sales call. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something which is I like to I guess I like to promote about our business internally. And everything's a blur. It's just the days are packed. Everything's going by fast. Time flies, and it's fun. We're having a fun ride. We all get along great with each other. Yeah, and why you mentioned that too? I mean, I want to give you kind of props because how I found you was YouTube. I ran into one of your retargeting videos, and I was pushed back. I was like, man, this guy knows his stuff. Yeah, I got to have him on the show. So I can imagine your clients have the same reaction too when they see that. They can tell that you know your stuff, and you should be very proud of where you're at now from where you started. I mean, that's thanks. I appreciate that. I was actually speaking to one of our clients a couple of weeks ago, and they came to us through one of my courses on Udemy. Mm-hmm. And she was telling me, she's like, you're the first company that I've ever had to pay to become a lead of, because she bought the course for whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, hey, let me reach out to these guys because they're an agency. So she's like, she was complaining, but it was also like a joke. She's like, you guys actually, instead of paying for leads, you have your leads pay you.
That's where everybody wants to get right there.
Right? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, very cool stuff. I like it. Well, I think we got an awesome topic today. Actually, we're going to kind of cover a few things and kind of lead in. We talked a little bit about the show and kind of what we want to talk about before. But I think the first thing I want to touch on, and a lot of our listeners probably have the question, is like with a small budget, because I think a lot of people really don't necessarily want to, especially small businesses, don't want to flood in all this money because they're not really sure on what's going to be the ROI there. Is it really going to be worth their money? How can really people determine kind of getting started? What kind of budget do they need to start with? and how do they really buy into this, and what can they expect with a small budget?
So that's a great group of questions, and it's a great group of really, really hard questions to answer.
Yeah.
And it's the type of questions we really typically get on a daily basis here, because we're not like an exclusive agency where we won't work with clients that are small businesses, mom and pops. We have a real strong contingency of those types of clients. We do have, and we also have clients who are publicly traded companies, and the whole mindset is different. There's a few different core components of the differences between a mom and pop that comes to you with a small budget, they want to get started in this, and a publicly traded company or even a middle market company that's doing $50 million a year in revenue, and your point of contact is mid to lower level marketing manager in the company. Mm-hmm. The biggest difference is that the small mom and pop client is spending their own money.
Yeah.
That fact counts for a huge level of variability in the relationship.
It's a very different approach.
Yeah, it's a completely different approach. When they have a bad day in advertising, it hurts.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with a publicly traded company or a company, spending $250,000 just on PPC, when there's a bad day in advertising, no one notices. And if anyone notices, it's your point of contact who's just kind of wants your feedback on how to spin the numbers or how to really look into the data to present it to their higher up, so everyone looks good down the ladder.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very different mentality. But that wasn't really your question. Was what does a small business do? What could they expect? What's the minimum buy-in for this sort of thing? It really the first thing you have to analyze is your industry, and if you take some local services, right, local plumbers, water damage experts, even local physicians, we've seen this with. It's very, very competitive at a local level. Trucking companies, these types of things, towing companies, where you're dealing with costs per click or cost per clicks of $18 plus per click, which is exorbitant. The reason why they're so expensive is because there's a very limited amount of. Well, let's backtrack. When you're talking right now, we're talking about search advertising on Google. We're not talking about Facebook advertising. I'm not talking about LinkedIn advertising. I'm not talking about buying display ads. I'm talking about Google AdWords, search engine marketing.
Yeah.
It's the reason why it's so expensive is because it's very high quality traffic. You're showing an ad to a person who's specifically expressing interest and commercial intent in whatever it is you sell. So if you sell a towing service and somebody's broken down on the side of the road within your radius that you service, and they type into Google 24/7 emergency tow truck company, there's no other form of advertising in the world that exists that you stand a greater chance of converting than that. It just doesn't exist, period.
Yeah.
And I'd like to hear anybody try to challenge me on that.
Yeah.
So it's very competitive because you don't have just one tow truck company in that 10-mile radius. You have 30. And there's a very limited amount of people in that 30-mile radius who are going to Google and are searching for the service. And every one of those 30 companies wants every one of those potential people. And if they see, hey, 1 out of 3 clicks or 1 out of 3 phone calls, we could convert into a job on which we make an average of $500 or $300, then these clicks are worth $30 to us, or they're worth $40 to us, or they're even worth $70 to us, right? We'll still make a profit.
Yeah.
So it gets very, very competitive in these local spaces. So that's the first consideration. We had another client who sold meditative soundtracks, and his clicks were 6 cents a click. So that's the first thing people who come to Google really have to understand. This is not a predetermined pricing structure. There's no bureaucratic system. People, it's not about bureaucrats sitting behind their desk determining what the prices for these clicks are. It's a live auction. Imagine when you do a Google search and you're advertising, imagine going to an auction house. Everyone has the ability to bid on a keyword, bid on a search, and pay whatever they want to pay. And what other people are paying ultimately determines the winning price of the auction. So that's the first type. I've noticed that sort of block. People don't really get the level of disparity in the buy-ins based on industry. Mm-hmm. So you're dealing with 5-6 cent clicks. And if you're a personal injury lawyer, right, you're talking about $140 clicks.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a massive range, right? If you're a small insurance company and you want to start getting into, claims insurance, you're going up against State Farm and Geico because they're bidding on the same terms.
Yep.
And you're going to have to pay to play in that game with them. So there's a huge disparity. So if you're selling meditative soundtracks, or you're in a business that has very low CPCs, then you could really start collecting data and potentially do a good job if you put in $30 a day or $40 a day, $50 a day. A few years ago, I might have said you can get the wheels turning with $10 a day. It's just not really the case anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If you have $10 a day to spend, there are other things you should be working on in your business. I don't say that in a disparaging way at all. Advertising is not necessarily something that every company does from the outset, especially Google advertising. There's different ways. I didn't start our agency with advertising. It was too expensive. Clicks on AdWords management, if I wanted to bid on a search, PPC management, AdWords management, these clicks were costing $70, $80 a click. I couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford 5 clicks and not get a client. I didn't have that kind of money lying around. We didn't have investments. So I took $500. I printed out 1,000 brochures, and I walked through 6 towns in Long Island, going into every store and handing them out to the owners of these shops, just day after day after day. I didn't get a single client from it, but it was I would still go back and do the same thing again because it was a better way to spend my money because I couldn't afford to buy into the advertising game at that point.
Right.
So
to make a long story short, I would say, it's very hard to make like a clear sort of best practice about this, but I would recommend $2,500 a month, $3,000 a month minimum to be able to get in. And the next most important thing is you have to be okay with losing that money.
Yeah.
Now, what I mean by losing the money is not that it's going to be flushed down the toilet, but it might not bring you sales.
Yeah.
But it will collect data. If the campaign's run with any level of competency, you're going to collect data, which is very important. We have a lot of people who come to me through the courses and a lot of potential clients who say, before I start spending money, I need to know how much my clicks are going to cost. And I say, I could pretend that I could tell you how much your clicks are going to cost. I could use software that's notoriously inaccurate, but if I were you, I'd take $100 and I'd run a campaign, and then I'll tell you how much your clicks are costing. It's the only way to know how much your clicks are costing. So you have to be willing to kind of front some cash, $2,500, $3,000 a month plus, and you need to be okay with losing that money in the context of profit. You have to be okay with spending $3,000, what we tell clients called R&D, research and development money. We're going to be learning how much your clicks are costing. We're going to be learning if your landing page is working. We're going to be learning which ad groups are working. We're going to be learning what time of day is working, what geographical locations are bringing in the highest quality traffic. That's important data because then the next $3,000 we spend will have a greater chance of turning a profit. And then if that next $3,000 doesn't spend, we're still learning more. And then at a certain point, these can't. Of course, this is not to any way suggest that every other aspect of your business should be ignored. You still need to have a good landing page. You still need to have a product people want to buy. You still need to have a sales team that doesn't piss off people when they call into the call center. So you can't sell anything unless you have all those other core components of a business ecosystem in place, working, functioning properly. We're just talking about one small little piece in the microcosm, which is acquiring traffic.
Yeah.
So the traffic acquisition is going to come at a cost, and most businesses, even though Google over the years has steadily gone up, there's new different types of campaigns you could try. Remarketing is a huge win for businesses on a tight budget.
Oh yeah.
And in most cases, if the rest of the business is soundly structured, companies could make this type of advertising work for them in many cases in a wildly profitable way. It's going to take time. It's going to take an investment. So I would say when you asked what could you expect, you should go into it expecting to lose your first 3 months worth of budget.
Yeah.
That just because at least you won't be let down.
Yeah.
Things might go well. You might start making money on day one. That's very possible. I would say there's a 50-50 chance that could happen. But be prepared. Come to the table with $3,000 a month to spend. Make sure you're setting your campaigns up properly. Make sure that the rest of the business structure is set up in a sound way. and be prepared to consider that first 3 months of your budget an investment in buying business data and business intelligence.
Right. And now let's go with some strategies if you're on a tight budget like that. So, I mean, like if they, it's probably a different story if they wanted to hire a professional like yourself or me or, or somebody that to manage those things for you. So, I mean, there's got to be a minimal, right, that you'll accept? Absolutely.
So, I mean, well, we bring it really back to what we need to charge as an agency fee.
Right.
So earlier in the company, we had an offer for PPC management for $250 a month. That was our fee, not counting your ad budget. Mm-hmm. But what we found over the course of the next year is that we really couldn't make money,
right?
Because we need to be putting in 6, 8, 10 hours a month at least in talking to the client, emailing the client, communicating strategy, and then actually doing the work, designing ad creative, A/B testing ads, setting up the account, analyzing data. So we were kind of breaking even and losing money in a lot of cases on those clients.
Sure.
So we moved our monthly fee to $6.99, the minimum. That's the lowest we'll work with.
Mm-hmm.
So if a company calls us and says, they speak to one of our sales representatives and they say, hey, we have $1,000 a month to spend. So our response right away is, hey, listen, we're going to still charge you $700 a month. So it doesn't make sense. You're better off spending $1,700 on the ads yourself and coming to us when you're at $5,000. So what we try to do is for ongoing monthly management, our fee is $6.99, and we try to take a minimum monthly budget of $5,000. If a company is spending less than $5,000 a month, we still have options.
Yeah.
So we do something called the AdWords Bootcamp, which is a kind of a hybrid of training and setting up the account for you for a one-time fee and handing it over to you for management. So that's something which is cool for companies who don't have the money to invest on a monthly ongoing basis.
Yeah,
so we'll kind of teach you a little bit of the essentials so you can do it on your own at a more basic level. We have a landing page analysis package where for $6.99 we'll spend an hour going through your landing page. It's a live video with annotations, with mock-ups in Photoshop on what changes we would make to help the conversion process run more smoothly. So that's another option for companies who are not ready to engage an agency. The truth is, Google themselves has AdWords Express. They have a support line. They have a lot of help documents. So if you have $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month to spend, maybe I shouldn't say this, but you really shouldn't come to an agency like ours. You shouldn't go to an agency at all.
Right.
It's just not the right time. Our value comes when there's a lot of money being spent through Bing, through Facebook. We're analyzing. We're coming up with an attribution model. We're understanding how to run A/B tests on ads, and we're running A/B tests on landing page color palettes. And there's enough money floating around in the system to make all these things worth their while and to make paying us worth their while and to have the value of an agency. If it's just I know there are agencies out there that kind of have this business model where it's lots of low-level clients where it's kind of commoditizing PPC management, but advertising is a very human-centric, sophisticated, creative thing. It's not a commodity.
Yeah. Isaac, 1 second. We got to take a break here for a second with our sponsor.
Sure.
Online PR is something every company should take advantage of because it creates buzz around your business. Press releases are a great way for your company to announce new product launches, company milestones, new partnerships, or even up-and-coming events. The hard part is knowing which press release distribution service to use that has an effective distribution at a price that fits your budget. Well, I have the answer. For as little as $39, PRUnderground.com guarantees your press releases to be on Google News, digitaljournal.com, social media outlets, and an additional 50 websites and blogs. PR Underground was ranked number 2 in user satisfaction out of all the other press release sites by G2 Crowd. This is one of the tools I recommend you add to your marketing tool belt for PR, marketing, and SEO at a price any company can afford. Go to PRUnderground.com. That's PRUnderground.com and send out your next press release. Enter the code SearchTalkLive and get 20% off your first press release. All right.
Very good. Yes, go to PRUnderground.com. Check that out. A lot of good stuff. Also, we are sponsored by the Robert Palmer family of companies as well. You can go to robertpalmercompanies.com. Check out everything they have to offer. A lot of great stuff. And be sure to get your questions in for today's show, as we have our special guest, Isaac Rudansky from Adventure Media Group. You can use hashtag SearchTalkLive on Twitter and get your questions in. I'm monitoring that as we speak.
So, Isaac, we're down to about 25 minutes. We haven't even really touched the surface of our list here.
I talk too much.
No, I like it. A lot of great stuff.
So let's go with the strategies on people that are on a tight budget. I mean, we pretty much somewhat covered that. But,
yeah.
What would be some good strategies you would suggest?
So I would the main thing is to start off with a small group of keywords. That's really the primary thing. It's like having keywords is like this. It's almost like it's an addictive drug, because every keyword represents another conversion or another potential customer. And it's also very easy to set up an account with lots and lots of keywords. It's much harder, and it takes a lot more discipline, and it takes a lot more like analysis to take a look at 100 keywords that in your mind all represent your buyers, and to say, okay, I need to pick 3. I need to pick 3 of these searches that I want to start bidding on. Which 3 are the best? Which 3 show the most commercial intent? Which 3 are more likely to engage with my most profitable products or my most profitable services, or whatever those questions are? And if you're spending $3,000 a month, you should have 5 keywords in your account, 10 keywords in your account, like that few. What you might find is that if you're spending, that level of budget a day, you're not able to spend, let's say you're spending $50 a day or $100 a day. You're not able to spend that budget on those 5 keywords, especially if you're targeting on a local level. But most businesses who are targeting keywords at a national or even international level should be able to spend that budget. And you could always broaden up the match types. So if you're starting off with, I wouldn't recommend starting off with 5 exact match keywords. I'd recommend starting off with a couple broad match, a couple exact match, a couple phrase match, mixing up the different match types.
Yeah.
But the main idea with a tight budget is think about very few keywords, just a handful. Think about only targeting locations that you know from your own previous data are more likely to convert. Mm-hmm. Only running your ads during certain times of day where you might know that certain competitors are not running their ads, whether that be overnight or during certain hours, or only running your ads during peak volume hours or peak shopping hours or whatever it may be during the day. You could think about cutting off your ads on the weekends. But the second thing I would say is don't spend whatever your budget is. Don't spend all of it on PPC. You should be putting in at least 25% of your budget into conversion rate optimization. Mm-hmm. What we found in the industry is that, and this was a study released by Tim Ash, who's a leading conversion rate optimization expert, is that the spending on traffic acquisition, i.e. PPC, has outpaced spending on conversion rate optimization by a factor of 92%, which is huge. Yeah. That's tremendous. And companies kind of put up quick. It's so easy now to make a landing page, right? It's incredibly straightforward, really, for anybody to throw up a landing page. But what people don't realize is that you're buying all this traffic and you're not converting them as well as possible because you're just not displaying the information properly. The information architecture is not set up in an intuitive way. The navigation is not intuitive. The calls to action. If you asked people who are buying PPC traffic if they could explain to you what the BJ Fogg behavioral model is, most of them would look at you like you just came from another planet. But that's a very important behavioral model to understand how to set up a call to action, what to write in your buttons on a landing page. Yeah. So I would say whatever you're spending, take 20% and put it towards landing page optimization. That might be hiring a freelancer. That might be running, signing up for Visual Website Optimizer, VWO.com, and running some tests on color schemes or headlines. But put some time and put some money into conversion optimization. It will be as effective, if not more effective, than buying PPC traffic.
Yeah, I'd also recommend too, keep an eye on that search terms report so that you can get some of those negative keywords in there. And
absolutely, that's a good point. That's a very good point. That's if you're when you're at that level of budget, the search terms report should be a tool you're looking at every single day.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to add to that?
That when it comes to PPC, when you're on a tight budget, it's pretty straightforward. The one thing I would add is Google's new or not new, but new-ish ability to target audiences in search campaigns, RLSA, remarketing lists, or search ads. And I think Patrick might have touched upon this a couple weeks back.
Oh, yeah.
For companies who are on a tight PPC budget, but who have a solid network of previous website visitors, it's a great way to get into the PPC game. Because you could still target certain searches, right? You could still target by keywords, but instead of just targeting anybody searching for that keyword, you could say, I only want to be in the auction. I only want to show an ad if it's one of my previous website visitors searching for that keyword.
Yeah.
You have brand awareness. People know who you are. Every single report that has ever been released in the industry has shown that it takes multiple times, multiple touch points to convert on average. So the ability to specifically target, let's say, people who spent 5 minutes or more on your site, or people who viewed certain pages of your site. Once you get a little bit more sophisticated and nuanced with remarketing lists, you could target combination lists. So people who either viewed product A or viewed product B, or people who only spent time on product B but didn't see product A, people who came to my homepage but didn't go to the blog, people who only went to the blog and read at least 3 articles. So there's an endless amount of lists that people could kind of configure for their remarketing campaigns. But the main idea here is that you could use all those lists in your search campaigns and only show ads on the Google Search Network to people who have previously been on your site. And that's something which is an incredibly powerful thing for people starting off in PPC who really have a limited budget and can't afford to kind of waste clicks on collecting data. So I would strongly recommend implementing RLSA campaigns into your advertising toolbox ASAP.
For the listeners, can you say what that abbreviation is?
Sure. RLSA stands for remarketing lists in search ads.
All right. I just want our listeners to understand that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then let's see. The next thing we got. Oops. Somebody's calling.
Incoming call.
Sorry, that's just a little background noise over here.
No, you're good. We actually had a question from Leslie come in. Leslie says she has a marketing budget, a paid advertising budget of around $1,500. She's just getting accustomed to kind of Google AdWords and wants to know, would it make a difference if she invested in the search network or display network?
100% of the Leslie, thanks for your question, first of all. The answer is, without a doubt, 100% of your money should be on the search network. In fact, even if you had $10,000 a month to spend, I would say do whatever you can to spend $10,000 on the search network. The display network is a very, very tricky thing. It's very hard to make it work for even bigger brands. In order for display to really be effective, you need like intensive campaigns that are spending a lot of money, that are being shown to people on an ongoing, recurrent basis, many impressions a day, that are leading into the, it's much more built around attracting customers higher up in the buyer funnel. So people who are just becoming aware of what you offer.
It's great for branding purposes.
It's good for branding purposes, but the main thing that people don't realize is it's not as cheap as it looks.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you could run a display campaign and get 5-cent clicks, right? That are not possible to even get on the search network. You can't even get those 5-cent clicks.
Mm-hmm.
But what's often happening on the display network with 5-cent clicks is you're getting shown on it's like subprime, very, very subprime websites.
Yeah.
Where you have suspicious traffic. It's not high quality traffic. You're paying for clicks because this is not the context to talk about how the ad exchanges work and how remnant inventory works and how premium buying works in RTB, in real time bidding. But to really be effective, even for awareness, even to spread branding and awareness on the display network, your clicks should not be that cheap. Because if your ads were showing up on legitimate websites like Yahoo and CNN and ESPN and news sites, right? They won't be costing 5 cents because if the inventory will, on a premium website, let's say like CNN, for example, the ads will only go to a live exchange auction if none of their premium buyers bid on that spot, bid on that impression. Mm-hmm. And once it gets to the ad auctions, there are a lot of other advertisers who are already bidding aggressively for CNN's placements. So you're not going to ever get 5-cent clicks on CNN. Just as an example, we have a client who's the largest negotiating course in the world. They give 95. They have over 300 negotiating seminars a year in over 95 cities around the world, and we run display for them. but we're talking about $15 clicks on the display network. Wow. Because we're targeting Crane's Business Chicago Journal. We're targeting placements in the Wall Street Journal. We're targeting placement on Bloomberg. And these are like, they bring in good traffic, they spread awareness, but you're still talking about $30 CPMs, $15 clicks. It's expensive. Yeah. So that's an extreme example. But the people oftentimes misunderstand where they say, hey, I could try display for really, really cheap and get more clicks, or try search, which is going to be more expensive but get fewer clicks. 10 times out of 10, you should do search, because even if you had the money for display, those clicks at 5 cents, 9 times out of 10 are bringing in bad traffic, bringing in traffic that are not going to convert anyway. So what our approach in our agency, like our kind of methodology is, search should always be assumed to bring in higher quality traffic. So until you hit your roof on available search traffic that can convert profitably, keep spending on search. So if a client comes to us and says, hey, we'd like to allocate $5,000 a month more to our marketing budget, we'll say one of two things. We'll either say, hey, we know that this campaign, which has a profitable ROI, has a 60% impression share, right? So we know we could scale this campaign and spend another $5,000, so let's spend it there. Or we'll say, hey, all of our campaigns that are profitable and all our keywords that can bring in a positive ROI are maxed out with volume on the Google Search Network. Right. Let's try a display campaign, or let's try a Facebook campaign, or let's call up the Wall Street Journal and negotiate a direct media buy. Mm-hmm. So it's, those types of things. But to answer Leslie's question, I definitely would put that $1,500 a month exclusively on search.
Good advice. Or some retargeting. And some retargeting. All right, we got to get through this. Let's see. Managing clients, and I think this is a very big topic because so many people fail there, and to
managing
keep a client,
and their expectations,
and keeping them long term instead of the short term because of the lack of communication. So let's go through that, down that rabbit hole.
Right.
Absolutely. You want me to just kind of talk off the cuff, or
go ahead and dive in.
I mean, what would you say the single most important thing is when you pick up a client, and as far as getting them to understand reporting and all that good stuff?
Is education a big part of kind of the client relationship?
All that stuff is good. The most important thing,
take Isaac's course. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, pay me $20,000 and I'll tell you the most important. Right. The most important thing, far, far, far more effective than increasing ROI, is the relationship you have with them. Sure. Is the friendliness. And I've seen this time and time again at our agency, and we put a lot of focus on building a relationship with our clients. And when I mean relationship, I don't mean like we send you a report every week and we get on our phone call every month. I mean, we become friends. We treat each other nicely. I ask you about your kids. You know that I bought a new house recently. You know that we're moving offices, and it's an exciting thing in our company. Like, we have a relationship, like a real human being relationship. That is by far the most important thing when it comes to client retention. And it makes sense because say you have a client that's paying you $5,000 a month in management fees, spending $30,000 a month on PPC. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. You have a bad month, right? Or you made a mistake, right? You forgot. You told the client you were gonna upload this new ad group, and you never did. You forgot about it. Now, when that client has a sense that, oh, I trust these guys. These people are my friends. We've had really good conversations. They're a sincere group of people. This was a mistake. It was a bad month. Things will end up normalizing. I'm not gonna cancel our contract. I'm not gonna disassociate myself from them as an agency because of this bad month. And that's not exceptional. That's normal human behavior. Mm-hmm. If you have a subscription to Spotify, it's very, very easy to cancel because there's no human being behind. In your mind, there really is a human being who's losing money somewhere, because there are people who own the company, but as a subscriber of a SaaS company, or something like a Spotify, like a music subscription, in your mind, in your perception, there's no person behind it. And when there's no person behind it, you're not hurting anybody, or there's not really any personal human interaction that needs to be accounted for if you're going to cancel a subscription or you're going to switch from Spotify to iTunes. It's just a decision it's a very, very practical decision. What's better for me? What makes more sense for me? When it comes to relationships, it's very different. So that's really, really the most important. If somebody's starting out and looking to develop a client and start doing this first service and make a living doing it, I would say you need to really understand that dynamic. Because you could have, and interestingly enough, we've had clients where we've produced fantastic results for, right? Mm-hmm. Fantastic ROI, fantastic results, but we failed at creating a relationship. It was a more mechanic sort of communication, and they were at some conference, and a friend of theirs came over and gave them a recommendation, referral for PPC. They're like, okay, you want us to use your friend? Fine, why not? Who cares? We'll use your friend. There was no emotional investment in us as an agency. Therefore, there was no emotional divestment of leaving us.
Right.
So that's a really, really important factor when it comes to the relationship. And then from a more pragmatic perspective, I would say you need to be transparent, right? You have to be. Your clients have to see everything you see when it comes to data, when it comes to reporting tools, when it comes to Google Analytics accounts, when it comes to AdWords accounts. Everything is shared. There's nothing that's kept behind. There are a lot of big agencies that argue with me about this, and I respect that because they're successful. I'm just telling you my own approach, which is limited to my own experience. But transparency is very, very important. Also, just honesty. You make a mistake. It's a little sick, but I sometimes kind of look forward to times where we make a mistake because the relationship is so enhanced. When you make a mistake and you call the client and say, hey, I just want to let you know I really dropped the ball on this. I forgot. I made a mistake. I optimized the wrong ad group. I changed. Instead of making this bid $3, I accidentally made it $30, and we're out $300. But we caught it, and I apologize. Every time that's happened, the relationship became better than before the mistake was made.
Sure.
So that's a really important thing. Also, don't hide behind a mistake. I've made this mistake many times in the beginning of making big mistakes and trying to spin some stories, and then you compound. You really work yourself into a big hole, and it never works out well. It's own up to the mistake. It's very important for the client relationship. We're very, very organized also. So we have a lot of clients, right? And we're split up into different account management teams here, but we use internal project management tools to stay very organized with tasks, stay very organized with the pipeline. Very importantly, we communicate very clear expectations to our clients from the outset. So we tell our clients, listen, we have our weekly phone call scheduled. The lines of communication are open. If you have an email, if you have a phone call, if you wanted to jump on the phone, definitely we're here for you. But understand that we're not, in most cases, we're not going to get back to your emails right away. It might be a day or two. We're not going to get back to your phone calls right away. We have a pipeline. We're charging you this amount of money, and we tell this to them straight out. We need to make money on you. We need to make a profit on servicing your account. That's how we stay in business. In order to do that, we need to spend the time working in the account. So every agency is going to kind of have their own dynamic on how they treat clients, on the different types of communication, where they allocate their time, but whatever that might be, however those permutations get played out, it's important to convey that to the client from the outset, because we've also had many situations in the very beginning where clients didn't know what to expect. There was, in the beginning, we'd be on the phone with them all the time, and then they kind of felt like, oh, that's going to be the standard thing. And then when we tried to pull back and say no, then they felt like we were kind of disassociating from them and not giving them a lot of attention when that really wasn't the case. So that's like a very core aspect of professionalism. This is what you're paying for. This is what you're getting. We're communicating to you. We're communicating that clearly to you from the outset. And this could be also for services, right? So if you're paying us for PPC, now you want a landing page. So we've also made this mistake where this intense desire to please your clients. So we'll say, okay, we'll just make you the landing pages for free. We'll add remarketing for free. We'll just everything for free. What happens is you get taken advantage of. You lose money, and clients don't want that. Like a good client, that's also a red flag. If a client is happy to take things that they're not paying for free, that's a sign that this is not going to be a good long-term relationship.
Right.
And it's perfectly okay to say to a client, listen, you're paying us for PPC management. It's a fair price. You'd like us to make a landing page. That's going to take us 8 hours, and we charge you $1,000 for that. So it's your call. So that's also important. Yes, I understand. We do have certain clients We have clients of ours who are paying us a lot of money a month, and it's not really built in a specific line item relationship. It's kind of, okay, you're our marketing guys. Whatever we need, you're going to be on call for. So that's a different structure, but that's also communicated. So they know that if they need a landing page, we're going to do it. It's not going to be a separate charge.
Right.
But that's built into that relationship.
Sure.
And based on the price they're paying us. So some months we might lose money, but some months that are a little quieter, where we're kind of just analyzing data, will make up for the month previous because we're doing less actual man hours in the account. So that's, yeah.
So what about, like, do you educate them on reporting, understanding, your impressions and clicks and that type of thing, or do you get that granular?
We try to stay away from the education unless it's a higher level client, because that could also be the education. It could take a lot of time.
Right.
So if clients have a specific question on, like, what is a keyword, or what are ad exchanges, or why is my display URL showing a website that doesn't exist on my actual website, we'll obviously explain what those are, walk the client through them, help them. We'll definitely help them understand reporting, going into your account, pulling up a keyword report, pulling up a search terms report, pulling up a dimensions report. We definitely do that. In terms of ongoing education, like real training, we have a separate thing for that. We have training seminars, we have training programs, the AdWords Bootcamp. I've done in-house consulting, things like that, where it's training is training.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. And then, to me, that's totally key. I mean, you have to set expectations, and either if it's a paid thing, and we do SEO as well. So, I mean, either way, everything needs to be set up front so you build that relationship and the communication throughout the whole contract or time with that client.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it's key about the whole mistakes process, because we're in an industry where mistakes happen. Yeah. Like, nothing's perfect, and there's a lot of trial and error with things. And so communicating that, being upfront with it, if it's an honest mistake or, something might have happened. I think people are scared of that as an agency, whether you're small time, big time, they're kind of scared to communicate that. And, well, what can we do to make amends for that? Maybe they won't notice or something like that. I think it's a very great point to where if you can communicate any mistakes, you're building that relationship, and setting those expectations. They respect you
more for that.
Yeah,
too,
right, right. And especially if you provide a course of action as well, that's an important part of it. How you're going to correct things. So I 100%. Definitely like that point. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see what else we got here.
A lot.
Anything
of
else
stuff.
You wanted to add, Isaac? We've got about.
We're getting down to about
8 minutes.
Yeah, about 8 minutes. Yeah. So trying to remember, you can get your questions in on Twitter using hashtag SearchTalkLive. Had a great question earlier. We appreciate that. Talking about PPC, client management, whole kit and caboodle.
Let's take this last 7 minutes and talk about how to evaluate different marketing channels and making that different, that budget allocation between your decisions.
Sure. And I'll try to condense some things into 7 minutes here.
Okay.
The most important thing you could do, first let me start off with a great resource for your listeners. Avinash Kaushik runs an excellent blog called Occam's Razor, and I will get it's actually Kaushik.net, which is KAUSHIK.net. And he has a fantastic blog that talks a lot about attribution modeling. It's a very kind of deep, pretty complicated sort of topic in digital marketing, but it's essential when it comes to really, if you want to accurately assess different sort of marketing channels and which ones are providing the most ROI. So I would definitely recommend to your listeners to check out that resource and read some of his articles. They're very high quality.
What's the website?
Kaushik.net, www.KAU, S as in Sam, H as in Henry, I, K as in kite.net.
Okay. Thank you for spelling that out, because that would be a hard one.
Yes, definitely check that out. Really, really good stuff. Okay. And he's the founder of Market Motive, which is a very well-known, established internet marketing training and certification academy. He's done a lot of good stuff.
Very cool.
Okay, so the first thing, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't want to go off on that. There was something never mind. Go ahead.
It's important to understand that when you look at your data, let's say you're running Facebook traffic, and it could be organic, it could be social, it could be organic from social, it could be paid from social, it could be Google organic, Google paid, banner advertising, Gmail advertising. So you have all these different what we call mediums, which is the method of transit from interacting with a piece of content to your website. Mm-hmm. So different mediums. And we don't live in a world where people click, discover your brand, and buy. I think the report from Nielsen that everyone loves quoting is that 6 or 7 on average different interactions it takes on average for somebody to buy or engage with a your end conversion action, whether that be signing up for a lead, filling a form, buying something, signing up for a webinar, whatever it is. So an average of 6 or 7 times, which means that mixed into that average, it's not 7 organic hits. It could be somebody first hears about you on Facebook and clicks a Facebook ad. And then they do a search on Google and they click a PPC ad. Then they come back to your site directly. Then they do a search and they hit on a keyword that you're ranking organically for, and then they finally convert. So now, that example had 4 different touch points. 2 of those touch points, your Facebook ad and your PPC ad, you had to pay for. Even your SEO stuff you might be paying for if you have an SEO guy or an SEO agency. Mm-hmm. So you're putting money into all these different mediums, right? And these 4 different mediums produced a sale. And that sale might have been represented $50 of profit. And I'm obviously oversimplifying this tremendously.
Sure.
The idea of attribution modeling is saying we need to get more sophisticated with how we attribute value, or how we attribute credit is a better word, to each one of those different touch points, a dollar value on each one of those. What were they all worth to me? And what was the ROI from each individual interaction? When you look at your Google Analytics report or your AdWords report, you're looking at a last click model. So in Google Analytics, if, for example, somebody searches for, let's say you sell calculators. So somebody searches for calculators for sale, and they click on your ad. You're running a PPC ad, and that was a $5 click. Then they see your website, calculators.com, and then it's a very memorable URL, right? So a couple days later, they come back and say, hey, I really like that calculator I saw on calculators.com. I'm going to go back and they go to Google and they type directly into the address bar, calculators.com, and they buy a calculator. In Google Analytics, PPC, your AdWords ad, is nowhere to be heard, is nowhere to be seen of. It doesn't get an ounce of credit for the sale. Mm-hmm. Direct gets all the credit. So now when you're looking at your analytics report, it says you had $5 of profit coming from the medium called direct, which from a business perspective is just not true, because that person would never have come back to you directly if they didn't initially interact with your PPC ad, which was what initially exposed that buyer to the company.
Right.
So attribution model, the idea of developing more sophisticated attribution models is saying, okay, in such instances where there were different touch points through the customer journey, how do we assign credit, or how much credit is given to each touch point? And the ultimate goal of attribution modeling is very, very important. It's very practical, saying how do we analyze the relative investment, the relative success of each of these different mediums, and how should we further allocate budget across these different mediums? So I know we don't have time, but what I would tell everybody to do first is to get your feet wet with attribution modeling, or to kind of help you understand the concept. You go into analytics, and I'm assuming most of the listeners have a Google Analytics account if you have a website.
Right. In
the left-hand panel, you want to go down to conversions, and you want to go into 1 second, let me pull it up. You want to go into multi-channel funnels, right? So the bottom most top level menu on your left-hand column is conversions. You twirl down the multi-channel funnels menu, and you click on assisted conversions. Your assisted conversions report is a place where you should really spend some time analyzing. That's going to show you how many conversions came from different mediums that were not the last click before the sale. Mm-hmm. So for organic search, you might see, I'm looking at my screen, I see 71 assisted conversions in my date range, and there were 24 last click conversions. So that means for organic search, 70 times an organic search result was clicked, but it did not result in a direct sale. Instead, there were future subsequent touch points with other mediums that resulted in the sale, but 71 times an organic search result preempted the sale.
Gotcha.
And there was only 24 times that it led to a direct click. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at your last click report, you might say, hey, organic search is not performing so well. It only has 24 conversions. That's not really true. It's not the whole picture. 71 times it assisted a conversion because there were subsequent clicks after that that led to a sale. So spend some time in your assisted conversions report in Google Analytics. Play around with the different settings. You could segment out your traffic by different sources and different mediums. You could look at how long of the conversion path was, the average amount of days it takes from a first click to an actual sale. But these are different numbers that you should start familiarizing yourself with, because it will really kind of convince you on a psychological level of the importance of looking at your attribution modeling in a more sophisticated way, so you could kind of see and get a sense of which mediums are leading to direct clicks, Absolutely. Direct conversions, and which source mediums are leading to subsequent interactions that are leading to sales.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's some great advice.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being on the show. We are out of time.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Absolutely. It did fly by.
It always does when we talk geek.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you again for being on the show. Everybody, we are here every Tuesday, 3:30 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Absolutely.
You can catch us next week. Who's the guest there, Caleb?
Oh, man, let me check it out here.
Caught you off guard again.
Yeah, while I'm checking it out, we definitely appreciate our time with special guest Isaac Rudansky of Adventure Media Group. If you missed any point of today's show, you can go to searchtalklive.com after the show, click on previous shows, and it'll be right up after 4:30, and we'll also put it on Twitter.
Yeah, if you want to reach Isaac, you can reach Isaac at adventureppc.com.
Yep.
You can go to adventureppc.com to visit his website, and you can find him on Twitter. We'll tweet it out after the show.
Yep.
I want to mention our new sponsor. Yeah. We got prunderground.com. For $39, you can go and send a press release. You can get it out to over 50 different blog sites. It'll be guaranteed to be on Google News.
Yeah.
So go check it out and use the code SearchTalkLive to get your 20% off. Definitely check them out if you like the show, and show your appreciation by just visiting our new sponsor.
Absolutely. prunderground.com. A lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
Man, next week we have, we keep getting these tongue twister names. I want to say Francois Goube.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm sorry. I probably butchered that. I used to be a teacher too, and I have fun trying to figure out names. But yes, next week we have a special show. Make sure you join us. And 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can either do it searchtalklive.com, iHeartRadio, or Spreaker. A lot of great stuff.
And if you like the shows, if you're listening to the show on Spreaker, please pound that like button.
Pound it.
Yep, hit it so you can show that you appreciate the show or it was helpful to you.
Yep.
Hit that up for me. Go to our website, listen to previous shows. You can go also sign up for our newsletter there.
Yep.
You can go to our sponsor page, check out the sponsors, and all that great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again to Isaac Rudansky. We appreciate your time today. A lot of great stuff. Check out the replay after the show on Spreaker, and we'll shoot it on Twitter. And make sure you join us next week, next Tuesday, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. We can't wait to see you there.
Yes, and you can also catch us on iTunes, Play Store. Where else? Spreaker, obviously.
Yeah.
Our website.
24 hours a day, iHeartRadio.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
If you're in the U.S., you can listen to us 24/7. Why you would do that?
Hey, if you like us that much.
Set your alarm clock to play Search Talk Live.
Right, exactly. Good stuff.
But anyway, I want to thank everybody for your support. And I have to say, we keep getting emails with the most amazing comments about the show. We are overwhelmed. I mean, the popularity is just overwhelming to us. And we are very humbled by your comments and suggestions, and really want to take all those to heart and help the show make it better. And thank you.
Yeah. And that's one thing. If you would like to, if we haven't touched on a topic that you would like to hear about, please shoot us an email. We would like to know. And
if you want to be the one talking about it.
Yeah. And we like to talk, but we've covered almost everything. It's crazy. Yeah. A lot of great stuff. But But we appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Search Talk Live is a presentation of the Robert Palmer family of companies.